Slab City is an area in the middle of the desert in the United States, often called a lawless town. Here, everyone is free to choose their own path in life, whether in creativity and freedom or in the misery and risks that come with it. Slab City is not a town as we usually know it. It has no mayor, no government office, no police station, no power grid, and no clean water system. From the outside, it looks like nothing more than a cluster of trailers, shabby tents, and makeshift shacks scattered across the barren desert. Yet, for some people, Slab City is a last paradise, a place free from taxes, government intervention, and binding social rules. Here, freedom is not just a word, but an everyday reality. Slab City is a haven of freedom, a place where people can live without the interference of state, free from bureaucracy, and free from rules considered restrictive. Still, for others, this place looks like a small dystopia, a fragile community living on the edge of civilization, where the absence of law means a risk of violence, crime, and uncertainty. One of the groups commonly found in Slab City are U.S. war veterans. They are people who once served in Vietnam, Iraq, or Afghanistan. They once fought bravely for the honor of their nation, but at an age when they should be enjoying peace, they find themselves thrown into a life of hardship. Many of them carry psychological trauma, struggle to adapt to civilian life, and most fall into a cycle of poverty. For these veterans, Slab City is a place where they can live without the pressure of society. No one demands them to be normal. There is no stigma, no complicated rules. Only the freedom to sit in an old trailer, gaze at the desert, or spend time in simple conversations with fellow residents. Slab City is also known as a magnet for eccentric artists and modern hippie communities. They see the desert as a blank canvas for their expressions. From here came the famous art project Salvation Mountain, an area full of art installations made from discarded materials transformed into unique works. Artists living in Slab City generally reject the mainstream commercial art system. They do not chase galleries or art markets, but instead create works that live within a free community. Here, art is part of everyday life, not merely a commodity. In addition, Slab City also shelters those who have nowhere else to go. Many homeless people come here because they cannot afford rent in big cities. In Slab City, they can build homes from scraps without paying rent or taxes. However, life in the desert for the homeless is much harsher. With no access to water, electricity, or health care, they must rely on community solidarity. Some struggle hard to survive, while others give in to drugs or alcohol. Slab City is also home to people with darker reasons, those escaping social or legal obligations. Some are running from debt, some avoid family responsibilities, and others flee from the authorities. Because there is no registration system, anyone can come and settle in Slab City without being questioned. This is why Slab City is often labeled a dangerous place. It has a reputation for drug trafficking, violence, and crimes that are difficult to handle due to the rare presence of law enforcement. Although its residents come from diverse and often contrasting backgrounds, one thread unites them all: the longing for freedom. Many once felt trapped by city systems, house rents, electricity bills, strict rules, or even society's judgmental stares. In Slab City, all of that disappears. Here, everyone can be themselves without worrying about being judged as strange or abnormal. In this way, all backgrounds and stories merge into one shared space. Ultimately, this place becomes a portrait of another America, not of skyscrapers and modern cities, but of people who choose to live outside the system. Slab City cannot be understood merely through population numbers or social statistics. It is a collection of personal stories, reasons not always rational, and dreams of freedom manifested in the ruins of a former military base. Slab City is often portrayed as a moneyless town or a paradise of free living. But in reality, no human life can exist completely outside of economics. Even in the middle of a barren desert, people still need food, water, clothing, and other essentials to survive. Interestingly, the economy in Slab City can be described as a shadow economy, a mix of barter, donations, informal work, and a bit of cash. There are no banks, no fixed salaries, and no taxes, only creativity in making a living. This economy is full of paradoxes. On one hand, it frees residents from a modern capitalist system. No rent, no taxes, and no banking. On the other hand, many still rely on the outside world for basic needs, whether buying water, working on nearby farms, or receiving donations from tourists. In other words, Slab City is not entirely self-sufficient. As an area outside the reach of law, security in Slab City is a personal matter. Many keep guard dogs or even firearms to protect themselves. Conflict are often resolved directly, sometimes through negotiation, sometimes through fighting. Nevertheless, there's also a certain respect among residents. Most are aware that they are there for similar reasons, escaping the pressures of the outside world. Because of this, major conflicts rarely destroy the community. Freedom in Slab City is a paradox. It allows people to live without state rules, yet it also forces them to live with high risks. There is no guarantee of safety, no medical services, and no legal protection. For outsiders, this seems frightening, but for the residents, it is a price worth paying for something they consider more important: full autonomy over their own lives. Many academics and journalists call Slab City a modern anarchist social experiment. It shows how a society can organize itself without formal legal structures. Slab City is not a town born of urban planning, like most American settlements. It emerged from the ruins of military history, something originally built for war that transformed into a place of escape, freedom, and isolation. To understand Slab City, we must trace its roots back to World War II. In 1942, during World War II, the U.S. government built a military base called Camp Dunlap in the Colorado Desert, not far from the small town of Niland, California. This base was used as a training ground for Marines. The location was chosen because the harsh desert climate was considered ideal for physical endurance training, and its isolation made it perfect for shooting practice and military experiments. Camp Dunlap was built with full facilities: barracks, firing ranges, ammunition warehouses, and basic infrastructure such as water and electricity. But with the end of World War II, the need for this base diminished. In the early 1950s, Camp Dunlap was officially closed and gradually dismantled. All major buildings were demolished, leaving behind only one thing: the concrete slabs of the former military barracks. From these slabs, the name Slab City was born. The town was never officially built. It only emerged from the abandoned slabs left by the military, later taken over by people seeking shelter. After the military left, the land reverted to untended desert. But in the 1950s and 1960s, groups of people began moving in. The first wave were the snowbirds, retirees or wanderers looking for a cheap place to stay during winter. Though barren, the California desert is warmer than the northern states. For those living on small pensions, Slab City was a kind of paradise. Free land with no rent and no taxes. Over time, the community grew. Artists, hippies, wanderers, and people with no other choice began calling Slab City home. There were no rental contracts, no legal land ownership, only the freedom to park a trailer or set up a tent on an empty slab. As a town that was never planned, life here is unlike any other American city. There are no paved roads, no rows of permanent houses, no streetlights, and no modern shops. What exists is only the dusty desert, remnants of military concrete, and makeshift dwellings. Yet this is where Slab City's uniqueness lies. The place has no standard housing. Homes could be small tents made of tarps, rusty old trailers, converted school buses, or art installations that also serve as shelters. Each resident is free to build their home according to their resources and imagination. One of the biggest challenges in Slab City is the lack of electricity. The area has no official power grid. Some residents buy gasoline generators, while others use secondhand solar panels purchased cheaply. With small panels, they can power fans, lights, or charge phones. Water is also a major issue. No pipelines run into this area, so residents must buy gallon jugs from stores in Nyland or hire water trucks to fill large containers. Because of the limited supply, water is used very sparingly, only for drinking, simple cooking, or minimal washing. Luxurious showers are almost impossible. Most people rely on buckets or makeshift showers from plastic bottles. In the end, Slab City is a city of freedom full of paradoxes. On one hand, it offers total liberty. No taxes, no rules, no government intervention. On the other, it brings the harsh reality of desert heat, water scarcity, criminal threats, and the absence of basic services. It is within this paradox that daily life in Slab City becomes fascinating. For its residents, every day is a conscious choice to stay, to accept chaos along with freedom, and hardship along with solidarity.